Here to discuss is former New York Congressman Peter King. Also with us, Democratic strategist and former New York State Senator David Carlucci. So, David, you get to start off on this because he's your party. He's a socialist. He beat the daylights out of Cuomo on a platform of, freebies, everything free, rent freeze, free busing, universal child care, city run. There's the list. I mean, just amazing, blah, blah, blah. His dream is to make the Big Apple, Moscow on the Hudson. And his campaign website, by the way, calls for shifting the tax burden from homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer, and here you go, whiter neighborhoods. So let me ask you, David, mainstream Democrats like Chuck Schumer, Governor Hochul, should they get behind him or should they run from him?
Well, I think what you got to realize here is that first, this was a ranked choice voting election. So it's a very small percentage of the overall population. And with that said, he still got a minority of the vote, not a majority of the Democratic vote in this primary. And the votes will still be counted next Tuesday when they do the second ballot, third ballot, fourth, until someone hits that 50%. But it does look like Zoran will win. With that said, I think when you look at that platform, one of the interesting things is that he has this platform. And I think it's eye-catching to many. Is it realistic? Is it pragmatic? Probably not. But I think New York City is a place in the Empire State where you try out ideas. You try to make sure that government is working towards the people you represent. And I think you hear it, I hear it, it's about affordability. And this candidate was able to articulate that far better than the other candidates. And I think that's the reality in the political climate that we're in right now. And as you've seen, this is a diverse party. You have a wide spectrum. And I think if you juxtapose that to the current Republican Party, it's one of our great strengths. Is it a challenge? Yes, it could be like herding cats. But when you can get us rowing in the same direction, it can be extremely powerful. And that's going to be the journey that we have and the challenge that we have is to work together as a team to beat Republicans, but more importantly, to have pragmatic policy that helps people increase the quality of their lives. That's the goal. And I'm hopeful that's going to happen in New York City.
All right. So, Peter, what I just heard was the anti-Semitic wing, the socialist wing, the communist wing is diversity, and that's good in a party.
Yeah, listen, there's always room for honest differences, but I see these differences being way beyond the pale. You're talking about really dangerous policies here. It's not just somebody who's going to try a different economic policy or different tax policy. We're talking about taxing whites more than others. We're talking about tolerating anti-Semitism. We're talking about saying good things about Intifada. We're talking about somebody talking about defunding the police. You're talking about someone who's going to drive businesses from New York and jobs. More important than that, jobs are going to leave. So this is, me, goes way beyond anything we ever had before. I disagree with Bill de Blasio, but his views are still within the mainstream. I never heard any Democratic candidate come out and actually saying that he supports or tolerates the Intifada, who, again, has made so many statements, no matter what he claims they are anti-Semitic. So it's not just you or I saying these things. It's also people like Chuck Schumer, Senator Gillibrand. We can go down the list of Democrats who have refused to identify themselves with his statements in the past. So it's not like an overstatement. It's not like somebody who exaggerated a bit. We're not talking about just trying a different tax level. We're talking about policies which really go against the grain of what America and, most importantly, New York City should be all about.
Well, I think there's a difference, though, between when we talk about policies that he's put on his website in terms of a platform and some of the comments that he's made. And I agree with you. I'm hopeful that he does define and make clear on some of those very controversial statements that he has been associated with. But this gives him an opportunity to clarify that. But there's a distinct difference between some of that rhetoric and some of the actual platform policies that he's put forward.
David, the minute any Republican says one little thing that could be even twisted or, quite frankly, is racist in some way, they don't get a chance to apologize. They get condemned and they get buried. Mamdani has called the NYPD. He's called for the NYPD to be defunded. Right? It's on their website. He called them anti-queer, racist, and a threat to public safety. So the threat to public safety is the NYPD. He's never worked a day in his life. He comes from wealth. He became a citizen 7 years ago, then immediately took to the streets to denounce his new country. He seems to hate everything America stands for, and yet this socialist may be in charge of the center of capitalism. And you've got Cuomo still on an independent line, could drop out, but didn't. So this guy's got a clear path to winning.
Now, that tweet
and he hasn't been denounced. He hasn't been denounced as he should be by the Democratic Party. They've walked back a little bit, but they have not denounced him. They're not running from him.
No, but I mean, that tweet that was just posted, that's 5 years old. That's a half a decade ago.
He said it. And that's what he means.
Still, yeah, but we could take so many things that Donald Trump just said 5 years ago or beyond and take it out of context. So, look, I'm not saying, is it something that he needs to explain? Absolutely. But I think a lot of these things in terms of defunding the police, that's something that even Mamdani has gone out of his way to clarify and say that he's looking to complement and add a support to law enforcement in terms of making sure that we're getting people that deserve help and not just criminal enforcement. But unfortunately, our police officers are left to do the job that our government officials are unwilling to do in terms of getting people the mental health treatment, addiction treatment, the care that they actually need, instead of law enforcement having to fill up and do everything. And that's unfair to our law enforcement. And I think one thing that this candidate has done has been clear in his platform of what we can do to complement the great police officers we have here in New York City.
All right. Well, Peter, I mean, he's not talking about complimenting. This guy's talking about turning things
in
inside
this mayoral
out.
campaign. I believe he is.
It's on his way. I mean, first of all, the Democratic Socialist platform, everybody should go to that because that's what he stands for. He is part of them. What is on their platform is, it's not only frightening, it is very dangerous. They're trying to, put themselves with a little makeup on to become somewhat normal, but they are not, Congressman.
No, not at all. And listen, this might be a great debate for a high school debate or a college debate. We're talking about the most important city in the world, the most important city for the United States. I was born and raised, educated in New York City. My father was a cop there for over 30 years. So I really live and die with New York City, and also a big Mets fan. But having said all that, to me, this is too big a risk to take, and the people's lives could be at stake. I mean, okay, let's say he has changed his views on the cops. We don't know that. And we're running the risk of people's lives being lost in the meantime. We don't know as he really changed his mind about not being anti-Semitic, or even though his comments sound anti-Semitic, he's really not. Can we run that risk when we've had rampant growing anti-Semitism in New York? No, we can't. It's going to cause many businesses, many jobs to leave New York, and the middle-income people are going to be the ones hurt the most. The rich can always take off. The fact is, the poor get laid off.
Congressman Peter King, former state senator in New York, David Carlucci. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
With you.
All right, so with me still, Thane Rosenbaum. So, Thane, everyone is like, well, let it burn. People, let New York City burn. Who cares? They get what they deserve. But there are going to be all these little Mamdanis that are going to be hatched all over the country. San Francisco went through this experiment and was like, after 5 years, whoa, what's going on here? You've lived through New York's bad times, and that we just had your book up there. Great book, by the way.
Thank you.
This is dangerous.
This is symptomatic of a larger moral and social decline in America. We've been taught to hate ourselves. And I can't believe what I was just hearing. I mean, this is Occupy Wall Street gone mainstream.
Yeah.
This is he has eye candy for a platform. Mm-hmm. But what he really is saying, and this is not old tweets, he's avowedly anti-Semitic. He thinks globalize the Intifada has multiple meanings.
Right.
He would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he came to New York. These are not old tweets. He's made it very clear. He's anti-police. He's in multiple ways. He adopts the kind of self-hating, anti-American, anti-Western civilization, anti-Semitic, no pride in our country, anti-white, tax the rich. This is one of the few times, Rob, that I'm thrilled that I don't own property in New York City because it'll be hard to unload.
Yes, it will. Thane, one good hour in the books. We got another to go, all right? You stay with us, folks. And if you want Thane's books, it's Beyond Proportionality, Israel's Just War in Gaza. There it is right there. All right, stay with us. The second